what you want, and you kind of say what you want in as simple as possible way, because coffee is not the cause for your happiness. You might think it is, but it's not. Let me tell you, okay? And then if she brings you the wrong thing, you say, okay, no big deal, you just drink it. Yeah.
It's a small corner.
Yeah.
About skillful means. For example, one of the barriers to helping and giving, I think, is not knowing what the right thing to do. If you take someone in the street to ask for money, many people don't give you money because they can use it for drugs.
Yeah.
So you get stuck.
Well, with the money I give, they can buy very, very little drugs. I tell you, they couldn't even get one dose of getting high with what I give, because I do give. But I give the most. I give sometimes $10. 10 francs. I tell them, do with it whatever you want to do with it. Because the purpose for me giving money to somebody there is to make a connection and to show some kindness and maybe to show some understanding what that means. I mean, my understanding is zero to that experience, but trying to understand what it means to live in the street and to be an addict. When I see these young people, I tell you that everybody avoids. It breaks my heart. You know, that these existences, that life is kind of, it's finished. So yeah, giving something is not right, and not giving something is also not right. Yeah, but you know, like when I'm a lot in Bern, so sometimes I have to go out to the House of Religion in the evening, so they're usually out in the evening. So then they know I'm a Buddhist nun, so they, of course they come, you know, because many of them have meditated. So then we start a conversation about meditation, and I always give them something. So the other day, I was 2 nights in a row, so one of them comes and, I give him something. Then he comes next evening and then he said, oh, yesterday you said you would give me something. So I said, yeah, I gave you something. And then he wanted to leave and he said, okay. I said, but that doesn't mean I don't give you anything today. And I tell you, it made his day. These few francs that somebody is able to give him 2 days in a row something. What about, would you keep going to work if your boss is only kind of paying you when he feels like it? No, today, no. I gave you yesterday. Today I won't give you anything. You would stop going. Yeah, but we have this thing, I give today, but then that's it. And I actually, with the giving for homeless people, since we're talking about this, somebody who is in the Salvation Army, I have friends, good friends who are in the Salvation Army, Christian kind of, charity organization. And I asked him, and I said, what do you do? And he said, when they come and ask me they say, like, I have lost my wallet, and I need to buy a ticket, because usually in the train stations, he says, I always give. Because there's not thousands of them. I can afford it, yeah? Because he says, if it's true, and I don't give anything, I would feel terrible. If it's not true, it's their business. And I followed that advice, and I made very good connections with these people. And then we started chatting, and sometimes people go, do you know them? I said, well, I don't really know them. But the connection becomes as if I know them. Yeah. But sometimes also when they're totally drunk and totally kind of aggressive also, then I do avoid them. I'm afraid of them. Yeah. So also one point he was coming like, no teeth and dirty and then like this. I said, look, if you look like this, and if you come like this, people are afraid of you. You have to be friendly. You have to be in a good mood. Otherwise, it's like people are afraid that you want more. And then I saw him going around in shopping mall saying, hello, how are you today? They still didn't really give anything, but still, at least, they looked at him. They didn't ignore him. One has a tendency, the ones who are in a really bad shape, to ignore them because we're afraid. So but I don't have a good solution. Now the good solution comes actually here in the text. What you can always do is tonglen. Yeah, that's what you can always do. So if you go to number 1, in the point 2, it's about in the middle of the page. It says, start by laying all blame on one thing, our self-centeredness. When we say everything is produced by the mind, not necessarily the mind at this moment. But when you live under very good conditions, your mind stream has produced the karmic forces for you now to enjoy an easy and a good life. Produced by the mind, but not this mind now, but in the past, with having a positive motivation for doing an action, doing a positive action or abstaining from a negative action, rejoicing that you did the action. So that also that the condition that you live in now has been produced by your past actions, either in this life or previous lives. Yeah? But then when there's a lot of self-centeredness, then kindness is gone because we only think about ourselves. So negative actions we do when there's self-centeredness, not necessarily now, but in the past. So whenever something difficult arises, now this is, if you don't believe in past lives, this is very difficult to think that your mind has created the situation. That's what makes, for Buddhists, it's easy. It's very easy. And it makes a lot of sense to take responsibility. Because when you know, for example, you made a mistake, when you know you've driven too fast, and you know it, and you're being arrested, not arrested, but stopped, you feel it's justified that you're being stopped. You're not shouting at the policeman. Yeah? Whereas when you get stopped for no reason, then you start to go, why are they stopping me? Yeah, the reaction when you get stopped by police, when you know why, is totally different than when you don't know why, what's happened to us at one point. Yeah? We got stopped by the police, then they didn't even want to know who we are. That's when I started to go, why are they stopping us? They stopped us, we pulled out, and then they saw us, and now you can go. So I wanted to be special. I wanted to be asked, who are you? So they didn't do that to me. It's a joke, okay? So it's okay now. Trying to put that here. Okay, great. Okay. So whenever something negative happens, the mind stream produced that in the past. Now it doesn't mean that you don't react, but you react out of a different state of mind. You see what I'm saying with the police? If you think like now, I'm poor because Bati kind of stole all my money, I blame her. I'm not blaming my self-centered action from the past to have stolen something. So I'm not taking responsibility. Yeah? And then I act differently. I say, I have to stop stealing. Because if I blame Bati, there's a big chance that I go and steal from somebody else. I feel justified. I'm the victim. I can do whatever I want. Yeah? This is the victim state of mind. I'm allowed to do whatever I want. I hit back. This is coming from the self-centeredness, not understanding where our suffering comes from. So this is why. The first thing is start to blame that one thing. And it's not you, okay? It's our mistaken view of what the I is. This is what you're trying to destroy. This is that's your target. Not you as a whole, but the wrong view. I am allowed to do that. That's what the self-existing I says. She stole my money, I steal hers. Next time I have an opportunity, I will take it away from her because it's mine. Have you ever cheated in this life for money? Not much. 1 shekel. Never ever? Yeah. Not paid for transport, not declared all your income. That's cheating or stealing. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, everybody. Yeah?
Yeah.
What will happen if now you have your wallet in your bag and somebody steals it? How would you react?
Angry.
Huh?
Angry.
As if, it should not happen to me. Instead of thinking, hey, I'm paying my debt here. This is the tax that I didn't, this is the tax collector came to collect what is still there, what I still owe to them. Karma finishing. Yeah? You would suffer much less, and definitely you wouldn't feel so, who are they to do that to me? Or lying. How do you react when somebody lies to you? Not in a good way. Have you never lied to somebody? We don't even have to go into past lives. Have you never lied to somebody? Who has never lied to somebody? I'm not Jesus. Jesus then threw a stone. Do you know the story? That when people were stoned, so he said, whoever has no sin can throw a stone. So they stopped throwing, and then he threw a stone. I can't go like this because I lied a lot. Yeah, so if people lied to me, why get angry? These are karmic forces that the conditions are right, and woof, they're coming back. The boomerangs come back. So we blame that one, the self-centered mind. Then meditate on the great kindness of all beings. This we did yesterday in great extent, so we're not going to do it now. Just the recognition how dependent we are on others. You put on your shoes, you think like, wow, if it's leather, an animal has given its life. Somebody made it, somebody transported, the whole thing, the whole chain of what we are. This sometimes also, it's nice to do with kids. Maybe you give them a chocolate, you put it in, you have 3-4 kids around, then you give them the chocolate, they can eat at the end, and they have to write down how many things are involved, so that this chocolate can be here now on the table to be eaten. How many beings and how many things. They quite like to do that, they quite like to explore, so it's good for us also to kind of explore how many things are in my food, how many things are in my clothes, how many things are in my books, how many things are in my computer. Do you see what I mean? The kindness of others. They all did their job. This is why now my life is so easy. But we have this Margieli, I think I will never be able to say it. Margieli? Margieli kind of thing. It spoils your happiness. The moment you think it's not the way you want it because it's due to you, das steht mir zu. Yeah. The moment you have that attitude, people cannot satisfy you anymore, and you're so unhappy. And I always tell the same thing. In Roots Institute, we have a few, but one who was especially difficult kind of guest. And she always said, I want the best room. So we gave her the second best, so that we had something better to give her. Otherwise, we would have given her the best from the beginning. She would have been unhappy with the rest of her stay. It was a fashion designer. And it was very difficult to make her happy. The more we think this Margiali thing, the more difficult we make it for people to make us happy. And then we think it's their fault. It's your mind's fault who has all these, but I need this, and it's due to me, I pay for it. So what? Your money also comes from somebody else. Either your customers, or your boss, or your parents, or the state, if you live on social welfare. Yeah? The kindness of others makes us very nice people when we are aware of, like, getting out of the bus to the driver. Thank you very much for driving me safely here. Even if it's 15 minutes late, you think he's late on purpose? Gosh, he has to do this Jerusalem Tel Aviv route every day for I don't know how many times. The 480 bus driver. You know? Say thank you when you get out in the front. But not just blah blah, but also the heart. You walk out of a shop, say thank you for the people who fill up all these things in this freezing cold place with like artificial light for very little money. Yeah? So this is why we become more connected. We open ourselves up to connection with people that we are dependent on. Would you like to work in the supermarket? Yes or no? Well, but then, we become somebody in the supermarket when the whole thing is empty. Then we start to see these people. It's only then they come into existence, when we need something from them. When it's full, well, of course, it fills up by itself. That's what our ego mind is thinking. Okay, so think about the kindness of all beings. It decreases our self-cherishing quite a bit. And we become quite nice people, easy people to be with. So if you don't want to benefit others, at least in the morning you could make the wish, may I not be too difficult for others today. It's already a nice wish. And then your mind changes. If you start using these thoughts, then the mind changes, and you all of a sudden see, "Oi, I said this in the morning, but wow, I'm such a hassle for everybody." Yeah, so then you change your attitude. May I not be too difficult for others today? Then is this alternate giving and taking, and this is the meditation we did yesterday. Instead of grasping what we think is pleasant and we want to keep it, to the good things that we have to give it. It nourishes our resources actually. It doesn't make us poorer, it makes us richer because it makes us more spacious. And then when we breathe, what we take the difficulties. I know it sounds perverse because that's not what we do. But the other thing doesn't seem to work. See, we put a lot of effort into trying to rid ourselves of difficult things and to get what is easy and what is nice. But it doesn't seem to make us happier people. So it doesn't work. So why not change something and do it the other way around? And as I said, the taking is to increase your courage. The giving is to increase your care, your concern, your love and your compassion to others. That's what it's for. That's the purpose of doing that meditation. Not for them to be free from suffering, because you're not omnipotent. You can't take away their suffering. But we create an attitude that we would be ready if we could. Yeah? And we create the attitude to give as much as we can, to share. Yeah? So if the giving is too much, then you go share. You know, try to adjust this practice to where you stand. So if you're very selfish, you only do this with your future self. Instead of being afraid of old age, you visualize yourself as an old person, maybe dement, maybe abandoned, maybe bitter, maybe full of anger, like many old people are. How many people do you know that are the way that you think you will be when you're old? Do you understand what I'm saying? We all think we'll be patient and intelligent and kind, and people will love to come and visit us. We all think like that. So how many people are the way that you would like to be? A few are, so it's possible. It's possible. I know a few people like this, because I visit a lot of old people. So some of them are so patient and so grateful for whatever they have. If you ask them for their life, they say, my life is very difficult. Now I'm here, old people's home, or parents' home, it's nice. Yeah? But it's only for parents, so I couldn't go there. I don't have children, so I'm not allowed to go there. It's only a home for parents. So they say, I'm here, I'm being well cared for, you know, people know what they're doing. And it's true, that's the place. This is a place for old people. There are plenty of people there who know how to take care of you, better than your family. But no, I don't want to be here. Most of them. Yeah? So prepare yourself already now. When I'm old, I'm not going to be a hassle to my family. I'm going to the parents' home. Then you'll go happily, and you allow other people to help you. Because those bitter people, they don't allow anybody to help them. Then they start accusing the ones who are helping them. They're stealing my stuff. Funny enough, a lot of this happens. That old people are afraid that they're stealing their things, or they're lying to them, or they're treating them badly. Probably karma ripening also from past habits of cheating and lying and all this. You know? Yeah, so prepare yourself for the parents' home. It's a good place to be as an old person. It's a very good place to be. It really is. If your mind labels it a good place to be, then it becomes a good place to be. If your mind labels it a bad place to be, then it becomes a bad place to be. So, do you have self-control or you don't? You do or you don't? You do. Yeah? So imagine the suffering of that old person in front of you, which is you. The loneliness, the confusion. Even in an old people's home you will have confusion, probably, you know. The being dependent and all this. And then you think you breathe it in the form of black smoke. Now today we're making it solid, the whole thing, the real thing. If it's too much, do what we did yesterday with the light, not with the self-cherishing is sitting like a black rock in our heart. Yeah? The thought of I should not be in that old people's home. Yeah? So you breathe in the suffering of that old person, and you will see the self-cherishing say, are you crazy? You will become like that. Don't even think that you will become like that. You see, nobody planned to be like they are. Everybody who is sitting there very unhappy and bitter, they were at one point like us. You know, vital, dynamic, happy. Nobody thought that they would end up like that. And definitely nobody planned it. So it's not a matter of wanting or not wanting, it's a matter of nature and a matter of karma. So with the body, you don't have that much control. You have some with Pilates and yoga and food and this and that. With the mind, you have some. And I have a friend of mine, she's 58. She was diagnosed dementia a year ago. She has dementia. She lives this incredibly well. She was a nun. And she was somebody who organized the colored chakra teaching in Graz. So maybe you know her, I don't know, it's Beate. So she had like huge capacities for having the overview and, you know, big things and a lot of self-confidence. She looks at the clock, she says, I don't know what I'm seeing. I'm seeing black lines. Sometimes. And sometimes she sees, you know, or she's sitting on the train, she doesn't know where she's going. She's holding a glass and she's holding a towel, and she doesn't know what these two things are for. That the towel would be to dry the glass. She's 58. And she has moments where she still functions quite well. But she says, I'm in Austria, I'm already registered like care number 1, you know, the lowest care. So it will automatically go forward. I will have a metapede to look after me, so I'm well cared for. So she suffers, yes, but she suffers very little compared to other people who are in the same state. And it can all happen to all of us. So when it happens, don't hide it. Make the steps to say, okay, what do I do now? And then arrange the things. Not the end of the world. Sometimes good to forget things. Okay, so you take in the suffering of that old person and you give out all the good things that you have now. Or you give to that old person what you would like to have when you're old. Your courage, your love, your still connectedness, intelligence, whatever. You know, I don't mind. This, you can be very creative with this. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, okay. So this is first, as it says, first you start with yourself. So for taking, begin with yourself. Let these two ride on your breath, so then in is bad, out is good. So you can, without having anybody actually in front of you, we will do the meditation after the break. So I let you choose what you want to do. You can just learn the technique first. Bad in, good out. Bad in, good out. So that you learn to be with the breath. Because if you do a lot of breathing meditation, like if you do awareness of breath and you kind of get nervous that you're losing your object all the time, then do this, because then you won't lose it so quickly. And you open up. Or if bad is too much, you go, I'm open to whatever comes. Out is like, I want to share. I want to give. And you're breathing out light, and you think you're breathing out support, relief, concern, care, whatever else words or sensations or emotions you want to give. Is that clear? Okay, now we come to the next one, which will maybe help me with this question. On the basis of the 3 objects, arise 3 poisons. Transform them into 3 sources of virtue. The 3 objects are pleasure, pain, and neutral. This is the 3 sensations or feelings that we have. When our mind makes contact with something, it's either pleasant sensation, I like, attachment, unpleasant, I don't like, aversion, I don't care, neutral, also not a clear mind. So these 3 poisons are these 3 main negative minds that we have. And why are they negative? Because we don't see things as they are. When you have attachment, you think your happiness comes from having that object. And you totally forget that you were quite a happy person before you had that object. Or that person, by the way. You know? When your husband is kind of saying, okay, sorry, I found somebody younger, who looks like you did 20 years ago. Funny enough, very often it's like this. You know? So I'm going there. So then you think your life is finished if you still think you love that person. But it's not love, you're still attached to that person. So, and you forget. You need a friend who comes to say, you need a friend that knew you before you knew that man, or woman for that case, who needs to be able to remind you, I knew you before you met that person, you were quite happy. What are you talking about, that you can't live without that person? You were able to live without that person for 20, 30, for 40 years, whatever. But the I is thinking, I cannot live without that person. But it's bullshit, it's not true. It takes 2 years for the I to realize it, at least, until the pain is gone. And it only goes if you let it go. We had somebody, what was the Yom Kippur course? No, I don't want to forgive him. Yeah, 5 years, 6 years. Her partner left her. 6 years, I don't want to forgive him. Then you hold the pain. It can't heal. If you leave it and you accept the situation, usually it takes about 2 years. It's not too long. And then you start living again. If you let go. If you really love the person, and you will see that the new relationship is really happy, you'll be so happy. That's love. If you're unhappy because they're happy together, that is attachment. And it makes you suffer. See, the husband is not suffering from your attachment. Aversion is, you would have aversion towards that new woman, of course. You know? So that, again, then you see all the things she cannot do, all the things she can't cook, she doesn't iron his shirts properly, you know, he's not so happy because she can't sing or dance or whatever. And you would be very happy that she doesn't have these qualities. Yeah? And it makes you unhappy. It gives you some kind of strange happiness to see these mistakes in her. But it's not the real happiness that we want to have, isn't it? And then you're hoping that, I hope he sees all these mistakes, and I hope he sees in what I am better, and he comes back to me, and then you're waiting, and you're closing the door to start a new relationship. You know? I can start new relationships, that's okay, if you let go the old one. Okay, and the difference is, well, I don't care. He's happy, he's not happy, I don't care. That's a mind who is peaceful, but it doesn't have any energy. It's not dynamic, it's bored. You know, indifference very quickly feels to boredom. And if you have too much access to very, very high pleasures, you become indifferent to them. Because why? Because you have so much choice, and since things are not giving you what you want them to give you, you become indifferent. So you miss out on the pleasure. You see, all the choice that we have, it spoils our pleasure. Because we become indifferent, because we have access to everything all the time. So it's, you know, this choice was made to make us happier. It makes us more confused, because we don't know what to choose. And they made research on that if you give somebody the choice between 3 chocolates, different ones, praline, how do you say in English, praline, something, yeah, you know, very exclusive, kind of from Brenner or somebody. The choice between 3 and the choice between 20, the people who had the choice between 3, much happier than the ones with 20, because you choose 1 out of 20, 19 could have been better. You choose out of 3, only 2 could have been better. And this whole thing about first moment, this is when you study the mind in Buddhism. The first moment is the only moment that is really intense. then afterwards it kind of gets flattens up. And the scientists, they would agree with that.